I didn't fall in love suddenly. That's not how it happened. It was slower than that. Quieter, so quiet, that for a long time, I didn't even realize what I was protecting myself from. My name is Anaya, and before him, my life was simple, not exciting, not dramatic, just controlled. I had learned how to live without expecting too much. Work, home, dinner for one. Sleep. It wasn't loneliness. It was caution. I had promised myself I wouldn't let anyone in again. Not after the last time. Then he started sitting across from me. Same cafe, same table, every evening at exactly 6. At first, we didn't speak. We just existed in the same space. I noticed small things. The way he stirred his coffee too long. The way he reread the same page. The way he looked up, as if he was waiting for something he didn't know how to ask for. I didn't know. He was noticing me too. One evening, he spoke first. "Is that seat taken?" I looked up. It wasn't. I nodded. That was it. No spark. No rush. Just two people sharing a table they didn't know would matter. We talked about nothing important. Weather, work, how bad the coffee was. But he listened. In a way that slowed me down, as if my words deserved space. When we stood to leave, he smiled and said, "See you tomorrow?" I don't know why my chest tightened at that. I said yes. After that, tomorrows became routine. We never exchanged numbers, never asked personal questions, and that made it feel safe. But slowly something shifted. Our silences grew comfortable. Our conversations grew honest sometimes. We didn't speak at all, and somehow that meant more. I started arriving early. So did he. I noticed. When he'd already ordered, he noticed. When I wore my hair differently, I told myself this was harmless, that people connect, that it didn't mean anything. But somewhere inside me, I was already choosing silence over honesty. One evening, I didn't show up. Work ran late. My phone died. Life happened. The next day, when I walked in, he looked up so fast. It startled me. "I thought you weren't coming back," he said. Something moved in my chest. "I didn't know you'd notice," I replied. He smiled, not wide, just honest. "I always do." That was the moment I started lying to myself. I told myself this was harmless, that people connect, that it didn't mean anything. We never touched, never crossed a line. But I started thinking of him. Before I slept, I wondered if he'd already ordered coffee, if he'd had a long day, if he'd noticed when I wore my hair differently. One night, he didn't come. The chair across from me stayed empty. I told myself it shouldn't matter. But the coffee tasted wrong. The next day, I almost didn't ask. But I did. "You weren't here yesterday." He hesitated. Just a second too long. "I almost stopped coming," he said quietly. "Why?" He looked at his hands. Because I started caring, he answered. My breath caught. He didn't look up. Didn't smile. I didn't want to, he continued. But it happened. The cafe felt smaller. I didn't come today, he said, to make things complicated. I nodded. Even though my heart was loud, I just needed to be honest. Silence stretched between us. I realized then we were standing on the edge of something, and neither of us was ready to fall. I think, I said slowly, we should stop coming here. He finally looked at me. I know, he said. We didn't argue, didn't promise anything. We stood up, paid separately. At the door, he paused. I'm glad I met you, he said. So am I replied. Then he left. Weeks passed. Life returned to normal, or at least what normal used to be. But something in me had shifted. One evening, as I walked past the cafe, I saw him inside. He looked up, so did I, and that's when I understood. Some connections aren't meant to be lived. They're meant to be felt and remembered. We never crossed a line, but he changed. How I listened, how I spoke, how I understood myself, and sometimes that's enough. If you're listening to this and you've ever felt something you chose not to touch, tell me in the comments. Do you believe some love is meant to stay unfinished?